Hi everyone. Good morning. Good morning from Ghana. Good afternoon. Good evening from other parts of the country. You are all welcome to
Good
this
morning.
edition of our virtual event. So today we'll be doing more of Microsoft's certifications and then Microsoft's Learn. It's 10 o'clock here in Ghana, so I would like us to wait for about 5 minutes for other people to join. Then our speakers will start. So, for those of us who are online, can we go on video so we could do a screenshot in the together mode? Okay, so if you just joined, please turn on your video so we all be in a together mode. Then we take a picture. Hi, I can see we have not turned on our videos. Can we kindly do that? So once again, can we all come on video so we could take a group picture? Godfred, Sylvester, Bright, Nicholas, Samuel, Joy, Peter, Daniel, Abu, and Ernest, then Gill Walker. Can we all come on video so we can take a group picture? Then we can start the event. Okay. Okay, so are you ready? I'm just taking a picture. Okay, thank you. So we can go off video. Please, is Gill around?
Hello.
Hi, Gill.
Yes.
Yes, yeah,
Hello.
you're welcome. You're welcome. It's nice to meet you virtually in Ghana.
Thank you. And you.
All right. So you can start. We are ready.
Can people see my screen?
Yes,
And
yes, yes. I can see your screen.
And can you still hear me?
Yes, we can hear you and we can see your screen.
Excellent.
You use your phone.
It's my pleasure to welcome you all virtually into my studio in Sydney and to share with you some tips on how to achieve success in Dynamics 365 exams. Now, I'm focusing primarily on Dynamics exams because they are the exams that I have passed. Last year, I passed 4, and over the last 15 or so years, I've passed about 20 of them, obviously across different versions. And largely, I have done the same sort of approach for all of the exams that I've passed. Although my focus is going to be Dynamics, the approach that I am outlining to you will work for pretty much any exam, be that another Microsoft exam or even further afield in other technical or even non-technical exams. So I hope that it will be relevant to most of you. I'm going to run through some slides and generally talk to you, and then we will have time at the end for some questions and answers. So just to put this into perspective, during 2020, I passed, first of all, MB200, which has since been retired, but MB200 was the Power Platform Core and Dynamics Core. Soon after that, I passed MB210, Dynamics 365 Sales. A little bit later last year, I passed Dynamics 365 Customer Service, MB230. Before the end of the year, I passed MB600, the Solution Architect Expert exam. And I used largely the same approach for all 4 of these exams. Those 4 exams have given me a number of awards. The first thing I achieved was the Dynamics 365 Sales Functional Consultant. Then I got the Customer Service Functional Consultant, the Power Platform Solution Architect, which is one of the expert exams. And across all of those, I am a Microsoft certified trainer. So not only do I have those skills, but I am certified to teach other people those skills. I mentioned earlier that MB200 has retired, and it did retire at the end of last year. It's been replaced by PL200, and PL200 is the foundation of Dynamics functionality. That is really the first exam that anybody who wants to be a Dynamics functional consultant should look at achieving. If you pass PL200 and MB210, you are a Dynamics 365 sales functional consultant. If you pass PL200 with MB220, you are a marketing functional consultant. MB230 makes you a customer service functional consultant, and MB240 makes you a field service functional consultant. Now, I've only got 2 of those, not all 3 of them, but I do also have the solution architect exam. To be a solution architect, you need to have any one of those functional consultant exams or awards and the MB600 exam. So that's just a little bit of background about the exams that you may be looking to take within the Dynamics CE space. If you want to revise and learn what you need to know so that you can do these exams, there are 2 very useful resources. Now, the second of these I'm not going to touch on today because Peter, who will be sharing the stage with me a little bit later on, will be teaching you about MS Learn. But I am going to spend a fair bit of time with you going through the aka.ms/train cert poster. And that is a resource that is kept up to date and is well worth anybody who wants to pass any of these exams becoming familiar with. So I'm now going to give you a bit of a guided tour of aka MS Train Cert poster, and then I'm going to go beyond that and teach you the method that I devised that got me through those exams during 2020. So if you go to aka MS Train Cert poster, this is what it looks like. And you can see that this is a current version and it has been updated already earlier this month. So I'm now taking you into that live, and once it loads, you will see that it is arranged in 4 columns. So we've got the Azure area, we've got the Microsoft 365 area, we've got Dynamics 365, CE, and the ERP solutions. I only really touched on the CE, that is where my interest lies, and we have the Power Platform. Within each of these areas, we have the awards, and each award is on a tile. So the CE exams and awards are these top 4. So they are the 4 that we went through briefly earlier. I'm going to use the sales functional consultant because in general, that is the easiest one for most people to get. And because most Dynamics 365 CE projects start with sales, it is probably also the most necessary set of skills. So if you click on any one of these tiles, it will then launch another page all about that particular award or exam. So here you can see we have got a page all about the Sales Functional Consultant Associate. And to achieve that, as I said earlier, we need the PL200, the Microsoft Power Platform Functional Consultant, and the Microsoft Dynamics 365 exam. So these two exams gain you the Sales Functional Consultant Associate Award. Scroll a little bit further down and you get even more useful resources. I'm not going to go through these in order. As with any Microsoft exam, there are always two ways that you can prepare yourself. There is the online, which is where Peter is going to give us some more information later on. And there is, of course, instructor-led or paid. They are available for all of these exams. Scroll down a little bit further and you will see more detail about MS Learn. But the important bit is that you download this certification skills outline. And this is a document that gives you a lot of detail about the exam in question. And the short version of what you need to know for this exam, and this one is MB210, the sales exam, is you need to know everything on this sheet. And as you can see, there is a lot there. So MB210 just comes down as far as this Manage Playbook templates. So focusing on the sales exam, there are three broad areas, and these are what I've got on the slide at the moment. So we need to be able to perform configuration of the sales module. We need to be able to manage all of the core sales entities, and we need to be able to configure additional tools and services. You will notice that after each of those, there is a percentage, and that is roughly the percentage of the exam that is based on each of those topics. The reason it is always from X to Y is because there is a large pool of questions, and depending on the particular questions that get loaded into your exam, you may get 30% that is configuration and only 15% that is configure additional tools and services, or the numbers may well be different. If we drill a little bit more deeply into performing configuration, we now have another three headings that we need to be aware of. And these are configure sales settings, configure processes, and create and configure sales visualizations. So that is moving down one level of detail further. And when we go into configure sales settings, we now have these 6 topics that we need to know. So we need to be able to configure sales territories, including hierarchical sales territories. We need to be able to configure auto number settings. So they're the numbers that you will see in front of orders and invoices. How do we configure and control those? We need to be able to set up and configure all of the business settings. We need to be able to manage, and that's configure and understand what is in each of them, all of the sales security roles. We need to be able to play with and set up and troubleshoot the goal management aspects of Dynamics 365, and we need to be able to create and manage the sales collateral. So what we've got on that one slide there is one dot point under one of the major topics that we need to know.
Hi, Joe. It looks like we have lost you. We can't hear you. And she's on you're on mute. Can you please unmute yourself?
How long has it been on mute for? Because it muted itself. I don't know how that happened. Or someone.
We left you for about 2 minutes.
Okay. Do you want me to go back?
Yes, please.
Okay, so that is AKA MS Train Cert poster. When we drill into the Dynamics 365 sales exam, we see that there are these 3 topics that we need to know. And the 3 topics that we need to know are perform configuration, manage core sales entities, and configure additional tools and services. The percentages after each of those gives you an indication of how much of the exam is dedicated to each of those topics. The reason each of those percentages has a lower and a higher value is because there is a large pool of exams, and depending on the day that you do the exam, you may end up getting more questions that are the perform configuration and fewer that are managed core sales entities, or the other way around. It is purely the luck of the draw as to what you get. And when you look at several of these exams, you will see sometimes the variation between the lower and the higher mark can be as much as 15% on any one topic. So they're the 3 main areas that Microsoft wants us to know in the Dynamics 365 sales exam. Drill into perform configuration, there are a further 3 topics, or 3 levels, 3 areas within configuration that we need to know about. So we need to be able to configure the sales settings, configure processes or business process flows, and we need to be able to create and configure sales visualizations. And visualizations is really dashboards and charts. So that's those three. If we now look in even more detail into the configure sales settings, we need to know these 6 topics. So we need to be able to configure sales territories, including hierarchical sales territories. We need to be able to configure all of the auto number options within Dynamics. So they're the numbers that automatically number your quotes, your orders, and your invoices. We need to be able to set up and manage all of the business settings. We need to know a lot about the sales security roles, not only how to apply them, but what is in each of these sales security roles. We need to be able to set up, manage, and troubleshoot goals and goal management. And we need to be able to create and manage sales collateral. So that is those 6 points. So you can see, you should be starting to see now the quantity that we need to know across all of this. We started out with 3, then I went into one of those and there were a further 3 topics. So if it was equal, which it's not, that would be 9. And now we've got those 6 bullet points under roughly 9 of those. So we're looking at somewhere between 50 and 70 points at that level of detail that we need to know incredibly well if we are going to be successful in the sales exam. Focusing now just on sales territories. So this is one out of, let's say, 60 of the points that you need to know. You need to know everything that is on that screen and how it behaves. So there's a whole range of questions that you might get that, if you were able to have that screen in front of you, would be reasonably straightforward to answer. But of course, in the exam, you do not have access to Dynamics 365 and you do not have access to any other documentation. Just keeping the focus on sales territories and hierarchical sales territories, this is the document that you need to really know inside out, and from where any questions on sales territories are likely to be taken. And there is at least one document on docs.microsoft.com for most of those points that we have gone through so far. So giving you some general tips to help you with these exams. First, and perhaps the most obvious, is be very, very thorough in your preparation. You really do need to know what is outlined on that skills measured exam in nauseating detail. The second tip that I can give you is read the questions very, very carefully. Some of the questions, and in some of the exams that I've done, I would go as far as saying maybe 30%, the answer to the question is actually in the question if you read it carefully. And the final point that I'm going to give you there is some very, very picky questions will come up. So there's a lot of questions where if you were acting as a genuine functional consultant and your client or somebody came and asked you, the honest answer would be log onto the system and have a look or try it out. But of course, in the exam, you cannot log onto the system, you cannot try it, you just have to know it. There's a range of different types of questions and you need to be prepared for those. So there are questions that are what I call single option multiple choice, where you get given a question and then a number of statements and one of those is correct. There are also similar questions, but where you have to choose two or more of those. Something that's become very, very popular in the recent exams is questions where you get a whole series of statements of which some form the answer, and you need to drag a number of them, rarely all of them, and put them in the correct order. And the final type of question is the case study. And these fall into two different sorts. The case studies that I must admit I really dislike are ones where they give you a lot of information and then two, maybe as many as half a dozen. So between 2 and half a dozen questions that are very much applying your knowledge of the sales module, the marketing module, whichever exam you're taking, but it's very much applying it to that particular scenario that has been outlined. The other sort of case studies are fundamentally simpler, and that is where you get a question and then you get a solution. So you will get a problem posed, you get a solution, and then the question is quite simply, does the solution solve the problem? Yes or no? And there will be anywhere between 2 and 5 questions, and the only difference is the actual solution that has been given. And because of the nature of those questions, once you have answered them, you are not able to return to them. So my final point is be very, very thorough in your preparation and use the time that you've got in the exam. You can have up to 3 hours to do these exams, and that's 3 hours to do about 50 questions. So it's well worth making sure that you've got that 3 hours available and that you use the time productively. And if you have done all the preparation, you then read the questions very carefully and think about them. These exams are relatively straightforward. And with that, I will hand back to Joshua. And I am more than happy to take some questions from you. Are you there, Joshua?
Yeah, hi, Bill. So it was very insightful session, and you learned a lot this morning. So we are very happy that you've been able to share the knowledge with us, and the team out here is very happy. And there were some few questions that was in the chat box. I don't know whether you would like to do all your questions or we should finish with Peter, then we do the Q&A session.
I'm open to doing it either way. So I'm happy to take questions now, or I'm happy to stay around and leave it all to the end.
Okay. So the first question that someone asked in the chat box was earlier on you posted some URLs that they wanted to be posted in the chat box so that they can have access to it.
I noticed that there is a question about the URLs. The one that I was focusing on, I will just put in the chat for you.
That's fine.
So
Okay.
that's the main one that I focused on. The other one that was on one of my slides was a Microsoft Learn URL, and I'll hold back on that because I'm possibly stealing Peter's thunder. So I will leave that one to him.
Okay. Thank you very much. So to everyone, is there any questions? So you can move on.
Feel free to unmute yourselves and just talk. I don't bite honest. And even if I did, it's hard when I'm several thousand miles away.
Okay. So before we receive some questions, okay. So we are still standing by for the questions.
So feel free to unmute yourself.
Okay, hello everyone. My name is Ernest and I'm in charge of MUGGH membership. So at this time, whilst we wait for your questions, I would also entreat each and everyone to, come on video and let's introduce ourselves. That will also help us more and help the speakers to also know how to tackle their presentation, because once they know our background, where we are, coming from, it will help them to really make the section interactive. And please also feel free to ask any questions as Gill has perfectly delivered with the dynamics. So please, let's come on video. Let's make this section very interactive. Feel free to comment, ask questions, introduce ourselves, because I would really want us to network. This is the moment and the opportunity to, know ourselves better. So
Yes,
please.
we have a question from Sylvester,
Okay.
which I'm happy to talk to. Maybe we could bribe Sylvester to come onto camera. Oh, maybe he has done. Welcome. Oh no, it's Ernest, not Sylvester. I've got a cup in the way. I can't see people's names.
Oh, okay. So please let's all come on video and make this section very interactive and introduce ourselves. Myself, I will start with myself. As I earlier said, my name is Ernest Kenatha. I'm into Microsoft Azure server, Windows Server, and System Center configuration, even though I've not been very active there. But my field is also Exchange, Microsoft Exchange servers. So yes, I'm aspiring to be a solution architect, and this section is very relevant for me because I've been using Microsoft Learn for some time, and I'm hoping to sit for Azure Administrator. And Learn has been very good to me. I did the Ignite challenge, and hopefully in the few coming weeks, I would pass my Azure administrator. So that's a brief about me, and I would like anybody, feel free to introduce yourself and then you tell us what's your field of expertise. And if you have any questions so far, you also put it across. So please feel free.
Okay, maybe I'll take over from you. I'm a Dynamics consultant, and I have been using Microsoft CRM, Dynamics CRM, Dynamics 365 for about 17 years. So I first cut my teeth on Microsoft CRM 1.0, and I have been playing pretty much since then, running my own consulting business and helping people, clients and employees of my clients, learn more about Dynamics 365 since then.
That's wonderful.
We have a couple of questions from Sylvester, and his first question is it enough just to use Microsoft Learn? From my experience, the answer is no. The real key is to go into the skills measured document. And you also need to be very familiar with the application or the applications that the exams are in. So I gave you an example of sales territories in Dynamics, which is, one tiny topic line within probably 70 for that particular exam. And that is the level of detail that you need to know. But then, as I said towards the end, you then need to apply that. So the questions are never going to be, what is the field to the left of the blah field? It's not that level of knowledge that they want. It is that you can help your clients use these applications. You can make the right decisions for your clients through your knowledge of the application. You know what is available, so you don't advise your client to go down a whole heap of customization that in fact is not necessary. And give me a decent coffee or a glass of wine and I could talk forever about customizations that I've seen that were really totally unnecessary, and they were recommended by somebody who did not know the product as it comes.
Okay. All right. So I think Silva also has another question, which he says, how long do you think we should prepare for to take an exams in terms of the Dynamics?
That is very much how long is a piece of string type question, because obviously it depends where your current skill set is and what you already know. I passed the MB 600 after a weekend of study, but in fairness, I worked really hard for that weekend. And as I said, I've been using the product and advising people for 17 years anyway. Now, not all of that 17 years, in fact, probably only the last couple of years, is really relevant now, but it's all exposure and experience.
Okay. All right. Okay. So I see. Okay, someone has raised his hand. Please, Hakan, you can talk.
Yes, hi everyone. Yes, I just wanted to chime in with some tips on learning resources. So I don't know if you know about a Cloud Guru. So you can find them at thecloudguru.com. They have specific courses just for examination. So they're both within Microsoft, but also in AWS and in Google Cloud. And then I can also recommend a Pluralsight. They also have learning paths that you can follow. So a little bit similar to Microsoft Learn. And then finally, there's also something called Cloud Skills. They also have a great material.
Okay, that's wonderful. Thank you very much, Hakan. Yes, and please, we would like to know more about you, about your skill, your expertise, your area of expertise, so we network very well. if you can share a brief, about your
Yeah, sure.
portfolio. Yeah.
Yes, so I've actually been working on the Microsoft platform since the early days of .NET, since it was released. So I've been both working on Windows platform and on web, and now in the recent times I've been focusing more on machine learning. So I'm looking, and also I've been looking now past months or something. I've been looking into the Power Apps and the Power Platform. So I can also recommend you that. So if you want to know more about the Power Platform, Udacity, they have a free course right now, which is by Donna Sarkar, who is the program manager for Power Platform. So if you go to Udacity and search for Power Platform, they have a full program that you can follow.
Okay, that's wonderful. Thank you very much. So guys, people who are interested in Power Platform, I know Sylvester Champions that's here in Ghana. So yes, I'm seeing Godfred. Godfred, if you can tell us what you do and give us a brief introduction about yourself. We will appreciate it.
Sure. My name is Godfred, and I am actually a computer science student from Valley View University.
Okay.
Windows product that is mainly Windows applications, and currently I am also enrolled in the technology adaptation program to test out new features before it is rolled out onto my consumers.
Godfred. Hello, Godfred. Yeah, we are on Teams. So you are safe here. You can't catch Corona, so you can remove your nose mask.
Okay. Actually, I am in a public transport. That's why.
Okay.
Okay. So go ahead.
There's another exam in the chat that maybe I should pick up if people are happy to answer that.
Okay, that's okay.
Tesco has been asking about why exams retire. And the honest answer to that is that as the product evolves, Microsoft are evolving the exams to keep up with them. And the second part of the question is, do you need to take an exam that will retire soon? And well, I suppose the honest answer to that is no, because you don't need to take any exams at all.
Okay.
If the exams always have a life cycle. So yes, they retire. And if we use MB200, which I mentioned earlier, that retired on the 31st of December, but it is still valid up until the 30th of June. And I will to replace that with PL200 before the 30th of June. I'd also like to make a comment about the various resources that are available, many of which are extremely good. However, if you're going to use any of these, please do map them back to the relevant skills measured document, because it is the skills measured document that is the detail of the exam. And if you can find resources on any platform, whatever, that helps going towards those exams, great, use them. But you can't pick up an exam and say, for the sake of argument, I found PL200 made easy on easyexam.com and I used it and then I failed the exam. Well, you know, that's because you didn't check the PL200 made easy against the skills measured for PL200. So the only absolute is the skills measured document. But obviously, in terms of resources towards the skills measured, yes, use what you like, but don't substitute anything else regard as a support to the skills measured. not a replacement or an easier way of doing it.
And I think that is very perfect because the skills measured are it's kind of the blueprint of the exams. So I think, yes,
if I may, Ernest, I'd actually go one step further and I'd say it's not kind of the blueprint, it is the blueprint. We can take the kind of out of that statement. That is the document you need to use. No ifs, buts, that's it. Anything else that helps, sure. I'm not going to knock other things, and there's lots out there that will help. But skills measure is the blueprint. I love the word.
Blueprint. Yes. Okay. Thank you very, very much. Yes. So I'm seeing Sylvester Akapo. Yes, you can take the floor.
Okay. Good morning. Sylvester here. Gill, that was a very nice presentation. I really penned down some good points. To actually emphasize on what you are saying, the most important thing about an exam is just not the exam's name, but it's actually the exam outlines. Because we often do this mistake whereby you see a new certification, a new exam that is out there, and you want to be the first person to take it, or just because your friends or maybe your colleagues are taking it and you just want to take it. But it's very important to also look at the exam outline to not get caught on exam date. It happened to a friend of mine before, and I'm taking that as an experience because he went for an exam whereby he thinks he was going to take something for Power Platform. Meanwhile, he took MB200, who was also dynamic core, and he is not yet good experience with dynamic to be able to answer questions about dynamic, and most of the questions came from that angle. So it's something that I'll urge most of us here who are about to take an exam to be very careful about the exam outline and to be very prepared, because Microsoft exams these days are technical. So it requires hands-on experience to be able to take those exams. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Silva, for sharing that experience. And it's good we have you on board. So, yes, I'm seeing that there are a lot of guys. I'm seeing Bright. Bright, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, so we would appreciate if you can just give us a brief introduction about yourself to get the house also, get to know you. So, yes. I think after Bright, we have 5 minutes more. So those who have not introduced yourself, we will take maybe 1 or 2, then we move to the next speaker. So Bright.
I'm Chris with Bright. Currently looking at taking out some of the looking at the new certifications. I have just entered into support and hoping to build up my skill in the server infrastructure these days, as the demand is going for the market. Is the reason I'm actually part of this community.
That's wonderful.
Yeah. And looking at how the certifications were retired recently, I was looking at, there's a gradual push of everyone going up with the new certifications, but I was also trying to see how that goes down with the market demands here in Ghana. Well, yeah, because I realized not every firm would be able to actually afford going cloud, because most organizations do not look at IT as part of their business infrastructure, particularly when it comes to the smaller scale organization. That is the reason I'm here.
Okay, all right. So it is our hope that you get to learn more about the certification and also gain the experience. There will be other boot camps that will be coming, which will be more technical. But today, as you rightly said, it will be good you know more about the certification and how to go about it. So yes, do we have anybody else who would gladly introduce himself? I'm seeing Manuel. I'm seeing there's a lady, Comfort. Comfort, please, are you there? Hello, Comfort. Okay. So, Samuel Barton, are you there? All right. Please feel free, if you have any question in the first session, you can also put it in the chat box, or you can raise your hands and then we'll give you the platform. I'm seeing Tosin Ola. Are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, we would love to hear from you.
Okay, good morning, and thank you for this amazing session. I learned quite a lot, especially regarding the exams and the things that we need to prepare for. So basically, I'm a software engineer. I'm looking into the Microsoft Power App platform. So that's what something that I'm trying to get into now because of the low code approach and an easier way to like create applications that can be used and without with less stress anyway. So I'm basically just happy to be here learning and just seeing how it goes.
Wonderful. Yeah, so it's good. I mean, we meet on this platform to learn more about the trend and Microsoft solutions. So yes, you are welcome. This is the place to be. And yeah, it's our hope we'll learn more. So yes, it's 2 minutes to 11 here in Ghana, and I think I have Peter Sarpong. Are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, we would love to hear from you. Then after you, we take the next speaker.
So, am I good to go?
Yes, Peter, you can introduce yourself so we know you.
Okay. So, thank you guys for having me here this morning. It's very, very early. I had to be up by 5 in the morning because I'm on Central Time. And thanks, Gill, for that presentation. I'm pretty sure that a lot of guys here have got quite a ton of stuff. So I'm going to share my screen here briefly so we can go through it. Excuse me. Hello?
Okay, Ernest actually didn't know that you were a speaker, so he wanted you to just introduce yourself. But since you have started, I would like to share some few messages with all of us. So thank you all for sharing your background and your experiences with us. And thank you, Gill, for the presentation and your session, So after Peter is done with his session, then we'll do the last session, which will be the Q&A. So I have lots of questions that I'll be asking. So any of the speakers can go ahead and then answer it. So we are very glad that you are joining us too. So from the organizers to go, we say thank you very much for your time and spending your lovely weekend with us. Okay, so Peter, are you ready? Hi, Peter. Hi, Peter.
Hello, can you hear me good?
Yes, we can hear you. Okay, so you can ask that. Thank you.
Okay. Well, thank you, Joshua. I'm going to try and share my screen here in a bit. So let me know when you can see it.
Yes, loud and clear. We can hear you. We can see you. We can see your screen.
Okay, so I'm just going to introduce myself briefly here. Name is Peter Sarpong, and I work at Microsoft. I've been with Microsoft for 3 years, including my 1 year time as a vendor. My current role is a cloud support engineer, and my main focus is on the Azure Marketplace. So I believe for most of you that's very familiar with Microsoft Platform and Microsoft Co-sell, App Source, and Marketplace. So the Marketplace is basically like the App Store or the Android platform where you can download applications and softwares and other stuff like that. So that's what I do for a living here. I haven't got a ton of certifications like Gill, but I do have 2 here. And I'm looking to take my AZ 102, sorry, 302 and 303. That's for the Cloud Solutions Architect by the end of this month. Actually, it's going to be the last day of the month. Friday the 30th is when I have booked to take that. So I have the Azure Fundamentals, which is the AZ 900, and the Administrator, which is AZ 104. So basically today, we just gonna talk through why certification matters, and this has been a very broad topic in across all platforms. Think about AWS, Google, IBM, and any other cloud service provider. I think the question for a lot of people is, okay, I'm in school, I'm doing this, and I want to get into IT. How do I go? Where do I start? And what are the certifications to go for? So pretty much want to talk to you, my journey and how I got here, and some of the practical steps and certifications that you can take, and how you can navigate yourself through the jobs and the roles. So let's go to the next slide. Okay, let's see if can you see it now?
Yes, we can, Peter.
Okay, so why certification, why does it matter? I like to motivate people a little bit, and I'm pretty sure that every one of us here on the call will attest to this. The money sometimes motivates us a lot. Well, especially for these times that we live in. And so just wanted to give you a little visualization here, as you can see on the screen. 2020 worldwide IT spending by technology group. And so you can see the total market size of $4.05 trillion. And this is across all telecom services, hardware, IT services, software, and business services. And it is estimated that by the end of 2021, which is end of this year, around 300 billion would be invested in cloud computing. And that number is actually expected to even go up by 2023. It is expected to be around $530 billion. Just that amount of money going into cloud computing. It makes perfect sense for every one of us in the IT world or looking to jump into this, that this is a great opportunity. So this has resulted in a scale and requirement gap with more job openings and less skilled population. This is why we want to take advantage of it. This is why we want to upskill ourselves, get the certifications so we can land that job that we want. And so again, looking at an average cloud solutions architect with cloud computing skills, salary, and this is only here in the US. I can speak for the other parts of the world, but this is where I live, and so I wanted to bring this to you, just like a little bit of inspiration to motivate you on whatever path that you are, or whatever journey that you are on today. So for a cloud solutions architect with cloud computing skills, that's the salary that you're looking at the end of the year. That's the base salary. So when we say the base, is basically that is without your bonuses and everything. So that's already in the 6 figures. And the next one here is a senior software engineer with cloud computing skills. That's the salary right there, 131 and over $1,000 a year. And for a deployment operations, which is the Azure DevOps and engineer with cloud computing skills, then again, you're looking around $100,000 a year. So this is for inspirational purposes only. That could vary from one company to the other. I can, like I said, I can speak for other places. Even here in the U.S., I can speak for other companies. I can speak for mainly Microsoft, where I work, and people that I work with that are in these places, and this is the average salary that you're looking at there. So moving on to the next slide. So this is everything that I want to talk about today, but I want, like Sylvester was saying, I want this to be very interactive. So at any point, if you want to stop me during the presentation, please feel free. Say, hey, just come off mute. Say, hey, can you stop right there? Or can you go back? I have a question here. I want to do that through the presentation and not to like save everything for the end. If you want to do that too, that's fine. But I'm also very okay with just interrupting me in the middle anytime if you have a question. So looking at this slide here, I want to point this out, that this is not for everyone. It's not for everybody. So the reason I'm saying this is back again to something that Sylvester was saying again, that you don't just go out there and see a certification, say, oh yeah, I'm just gonna go for that, or because my friend went for that. I think you need to have a plan. And what I mean a plan is that you need to have a roadmap. Where are you going? Where do you want to be? And so this will help you in your decisions in whatever certification area that you want to go for. Now, if you know where you're going, I think you will choose the right path to get there. Couple of ways to do that. Now, the reason why certification in these cloud age is paramount, is very important, is because from my experience and from where I'm sitting, I've seen that a lot of employers are not really looking at who's got the master's degree in whatever, but most of them primarily look at what certifications have you got on top of that. And so if you are in school right now, for example, if you are studying for computer engineering, whatever in your IT world, that's great, but I highly recommend that you get some certifications on top of that, because certifications are known to be or tailored for the job role that you're going to be doing, whilst university degrees are covers a broad spectrum of everything. And so most employers look for people with certifications on top of whatever degrees that they have, so they are pretty confident that when we get you in here, you'll be able to do the job. Okay, so as you can see right here on the top, which I'm pretty sure that everyone on this call is very familiar with this roadmap here. We have the fundamentals, we have the associate level, and the expert level. So it makes sense to start right from the bottom, which is the fundamentals. And so that's what I did. Went for the AZ900, which is basically gonna be giving you the cloud concepts, how cloud computer works, the basic understanding. So it's an opportunity to prove knowledge of cloud concept, Azure services, Azure workloads, security, privacy in Azure, as well as Azure pricing and support. And I want to tell you, these questions are tricky, especially the multiple ones. And so I want to echo what Gill said. Please pay attention. to the questions, read them over and over and over again, because some of them are tricky. And so you don't miss anything there. Now, from that point, from the AZ900, if again, depending on where you want to go. So if some guy that's looking to get certifications in AI or to become an Azure AI engineer, definitely this is the route that you want to go. And so you might probably take the AZ900, and on top of that, take the AI fundamentals, which gives you also the basic idea, knowledge of the AI Azure engineer. And so you can go this route by first taking the AZ900 and go this way, and then come to the associate level. So with registration and fee, I'm pretty sure that you all know it's $99 for the fundamentals. When you get to the expert and associate level, that's $165. And looking at this from the right side here too, we can see the Azure Data Fundamentals, which is also going to be giving you the Azure Data Engineer, Azure Data Scientist. So this will be your fundamental here, and you can move on to the other certification. I know we can dive deeper into this, but for today, I decided I'm going to speak on the AZ900 and the 104, the administrator one, and I have tons of documentations and links that I'm going to be providing for you guys at your own time, in your own pace. You can dive in deeper into the other ones and get more details on that. So moving here, let me go back. I'll come back to the slide, but let me go here. So these are all the Azure certifications that you can think of right now. I think there's a revised one that came out sometime close to the end of last year. And so there were a few changes that were made to the certification, especially with the Azure Solutions Architect Expert. Now you need to take 2 certifications in order to get 1 certificate. Sorry, 2 exams to get 1 certificate. And I apologize for that. There's a 2 missing there, which is the AZ 302 and 303 is what's going to give you the Azure Cloud Solutions Architect certificate. So as you can see, this is everything that you can start thinking of from the roadmap that I showed earlier. But let's talk about this for a moment, and I'll go back to that slide. So for the Azure Microsoft AZ900, this is basically what you're going to be looking at. And so when you look at the AZ900, just a few things to watch out for is for cloud concepts, as you can see, and that is roughly between 15 to 20% of the exam. You're looking at core Azure services, which is 30 to 35%. You're looking at security, privacy, compliance, and trust. That combined will give you 25 to 30%. And then you're looking at Azure pricing and support. Now, let me point this out. Azure pricing is quite tricky. I worked a lot in my previous role. I actually just transitioned into my current role just about 3 weeks ago. But in my previous role, I worked as a solution specialist in the sales side of things. And so I worked with a lot of customers, helped with migration. I helped with pricing. And so if you are familiar, if you've played with the Azure pricing calculator, which is online at Microsoft Azure.com, you would know that it's a bit complicated to size up VMs and server and all the pricing, changing different locations and how all that comes together. And so if you haven't yet I highly recommend that. One good way to get the hands-on training is actually to get your foot in the mud. Go create an Azure account, begin to play with that. Play with the pricing calculator, get the basic understanding, know how it works. Because as I said, 25 to 30% of that is gonna be coming through the Azure pricing and support. And you're thinking about support, there are different kinds of support: the standard, the premium, and the developer support, which comes with different pricing as well. So all of that information I will send through links to you later after this, so you can actually go through it. Now I want to come here to the AZ-104. So I must be honest, the AZ-104, it's a little bit in its own world than the AZ-900, which is of course the fundamentals. So this is actually a lot more hands-on. It's got a lot more demos and practical things that you need to pay attention to. And just like the AZ-900, these are also the areas that you want to be focusing on. And I just want to say that you don't have to, which is like, as you can see here, is optional. There are people there I know that went straight for the AZ-900, sorry, the AZ-104 without AZ-900. Also, again, depending on where you are on your journey with your skills, with your knowledge. There are some people that the AZ-900 would not make sense for them. It would only make sense to just skip that one and go for the 104, which is great. Now the AZ-900, like I said, is the beginner's one, is the fundamentals. It will give you the cloud concepts and everything that you need to know on the basis level, and then you can build on top of that. And so looking at this, we are also looking at management of Azure identities and governance. So like I said, this is broad with the 104. If you are here, if you have that certification, I guess you will know what I'm talking about. It needs a lot of time to practice. And aka.ms/learning is a very great place to go. You have all the certifications there. You can download some of these practice tests. There are different places. I think someone was gracious enough to also point you to Pluralsight, which I was going to mention. We have Udemy, which is also a great place. I did. For Microsoft employees, it's free to take these certifications, and we have online live tutors as well that you can register for to be in these sections and these classes, and there are plenty of other modules that's easily accessible for us as employees to study, and they are all for free. But I still had to go outside of that to Udemy to get some other extra lessons from there. So like I said, everyone studied differently. There are some people that like the self-paced. They like to read documentations and go through modules and webinars and videos to actually prep themselves. Others are like, I cannot read. I just need to sit in a classroom and hear someone take me through or the various parts of it. And so we all learn differently, but just look at yourself. How do you learn? How does that make sense for you? And just go with it. So there are tons of other places that you can go. YouTube is also a very phenomenal place for me. There are some great guys on YouTube, that a couple of them that I can recommend, whose training have been proven to be great. People that have sat in the training classes can attest to that they were great. They helped them take the certification with ease. So I'm gonna jump in here. Okay, now let me go to the next one before I forget and skip. So on this slide, you will see the management of Azure identities and governance. That's one huge part. You will be looking at implementation and management of storage. So you need to learn all the different kinds of storage on the Azure platform. You'll be going through deploying, managing Azure compute resources. And let me go back to this again. Please, 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 if you have not yet registered for a free Azure account, please do that today. It's free. The good thing about it is that you get $200 worth of free money to use within the first 30 days. Now, after the 30 days, you cannot use that $200 anymore. Everything after that then becomes you have to migrate from the free to a paid service. But there are tons of other resources there that are free for you to use for 1 year. But the $200 is from the day that you sign up to the 30th day. That's when you can use this money. You can deploy some stuff. You can walk yourself through the portal. You can learn how some of these that set up on an Azure Active Directory, add something, spin up a server, add a story to it, anything, but just get your hands dirty with it by taking advantage of that free money. And so you also have configuration and managing virtual networks. And so, like I said, there's no other place to learn it. You can learn the theory, side of it by watching videos and all that, but it's very, very recommended, or I will highly recommend that you go through the practical side of it as well through the Azure portal, create an account, and then get through it, do it yourself, a few practice, and it will make a lot of sense for you. Monitoring and backup of Azure resources. So these are the things that you will be going through, the different parts of the AZ 104. That's what you'll be going through. You'll be seeing there. Let me go to the next slide here. Oh, okay. So this actually, I think I went through this already, but for the AZ900, so basically to describe concept, that's 15 to 20%. I've already mentioned that. And for the 104, to manage that Azure identities and governance, that's 15 to 20%. Implementation and management of storage is 10 to 15. Deployment and management of Azure compute resources is 25 to 30. Configuration and managing virtual networks, 30 to 35. Monitoring and backup for Azure resources is 10 to 15% that to cover the whole exam. Now, let's talk about aka.ms/learn. So this is your one-stop place, like one-shop place where you can get everything. So if you go here, as you can see on my screen, this is just oops, what did I do? Can you guys see it now? Okay. So this is basically what you're gonna be seeing. I just decided to put the AZ900 up here, but basically when you are here, for some of you who've already been here or who are familiar with this site here, you can actually sign in, so you can save some of your practice text there, and you can use the search area here to also type in whatever certification that you're looking to study. or you're looking to take, and then you can look at it here. So it actually gives you the whole idea of what that certification is. So take your time. Like I said, you don't have to jump on any certification. Just know the roadmap, design for yourself, for your career path, where you're looking to go, what makes sense for you, and then go for it. And so you can see the time of the exam, how many questions that are going to be there, everything that you would need to know, and also how to register for it will all be there if you want to register yourself, or if you want to go through a learning center to do that. They can handle that for you. I heard they do that in some places in Ghana. So you can actually get that, or if you want to do that by yourself, you can just go through all the steps there and register. But really, this is everything. This is where you will get all the information you need about every certification and what time you're gonna need. So the average time for preparation, I think that is also gonna vary from one person to the other. I needed just about maybe 2 months to get ready for the 104. And there are some people that needs just a weekend to do that. And so I really want to just tell you that you just you know yourself better, you know your learning path. And so whatever time that you need, it's no rush. You can take the time and go through the practice text over and over to a point where you feel very comfortable to take it. And then you can take that. Like I said, all the fundamentals are $99, and the rest is $165. So you really want to make sure that you are putting in a lot of time to get yourself ready for it before you go ahead to register and take the test. And so this one here is what I was just talking about. If you go to azure.com, you can create your Azure free account at Microsoft Azure.com. You can sign in into the portal. You can start playing with some of the things. And these are a few links that I will be sending to you. I have a couple other ones as well. This site was actually very, very good for me too. They do not have videos there. It's basically just practice tests, but there are millions and millions of people that have taken these certifications that come there daily to put updates, to tell people what is changing in these exams or the certifications, and to give you the updated tips on how things are going, how things are changing. I highly recommend that you spend tons and tons of your time looking through, and it's got every Microsoft certification, every learning that you can ever think of. They are all listed there. So you can leverage that for your learning. And I think I've also mentioned Udemy here, which is also a great place to go, a great site. There are free ones that you can, free tutors that you can sign up to watch or to learn from. But like they said, when you want to put a lot of skin in the game, you know that you have to go for maybe some of the paid ones to get the most juicy stuff out of that. So yep, you can leverage all these places to learn. And again, the aka.ms/learn. Now, yes, so I think that will be all for that. Let me go back here to this slide. Now, I wanted to just for work and role purposes, for a lot of people who are maybe developers or who are looking to become developers, people who are engineers looking for all these aspect certifications. I highly recommend that maybe you start with the AZ900, get the concept, get the understanding, go through the administrator, which gives you, which is a layer on top of the AZ900, which gives you a broader understanding on governance and security. And then you can look into the associate or the expert level where you're looking to go, where it makes sense for your career path. And so I know that for a lot of people, the question now is, okay, if I'm gonna do this, where am I gonna land? Or if I'm looking at this job, maybe what certification makes sense for me? I think the first question I would direct it back to you. Where are you now and where do you want to go? And then we can have that discussion. And so I will leave all of that into the Q&A section where I can answer some of the use my personal journey here, how certifications has helped open the door for me, and how you can leverage that. And when I say jobs, it's not you're not just looking at Ghana. There are tons and tons of IT jobs outside of the shores of Ghana that you can apply to, even right here at Microsoft, that you can apply to. But what are some of the certifications? I guess it would depend on where you're looking to go. So I'm gonna end my section here, and then we can open up to the Q&A. Whatever questions that you have, you can keep them coming. Okay, Joshua.
Okay, Peter, thank you very much for this wonderful session. It was very insightful. We learned a lot. So please, do you have any questions? Do you have any questions? You could unmute yourself and then conclude. Hi, Julian.
Hi.
Yeah.
Thanks for the presentation.
I saw your hand raised.
Yes. Yeah, sorry, can you hear me?
Oh yes, it's better now.
Good. All right. So thanks, Peter, for the presentation. I think you've really covered it all. Like you've given a clear picture what we should expect or we should know. I just want to add a comment. So I'm coming from AWS background. I did my practitioner, I did a solution architect associate, and then I decided to come into Microsoft. So I started with the AZ900. And the funny thing is, I took it for granted. I thought I was already in the cloud space, so it was going to be easy for me to just set a date and revise the documentation and watch one or two videos and sit for the exams and pass it. But it didn't turn out to be that easy. Thank God I passed, but I must say you shouldn't underestimate the exams, no matter your background, because if you are even if you're within the class space already, so advisable you go through the material, and especially when it comes to support and pricing, this particular area differs from one cloud provider to the other. So it's something, just a word of caution to those who are yet to prepare for their certification. Don't underestimate any of the certification, not even the foundation or the fundamental. So that is just a little experience I want to share for my colleagues who are yet to embark on their journey. Thanks.
Yeah, thank you for adding that. I think you've said it all. That's so true. You can never underestimate them, especially if you are coming from a cross-platform like Google Cloud or AWS, because things work slightly different. It's the same cloud concept, but for examination purposes, things are going to be different. And so I highly recommend that you spend a lot of time in these exam practice so you can get yourself ready for it.
All right, I have a question, Peter. Yes, even though, preparation might differ from, individual, but I would like you to share your particular experience because you've written 104, and I'm about to also write, preparing to write that exams. I want you to share how you went through your preparation stage.
Okay. Well, that's a very good question. I always like to use myself as an example in any scenario. So, I had the AZ900. Obviously, let me start from there. How I prepared for all of that, and so like any other person, I thought this is gonna be different. I didn't know anything Azure when I started working as a vendor for Microsoft. I had no idea how Azure worked and anything like that. And so when I got the job, at that point, I didn't have to do anything on a lot of things on the cloud side until I transitioned to become an FTE, which is full-time employee. And that was when it became important that I start looking into it. And so right away, I knew I needed to get a better understanding of cloud computing and how things translate on the other side from on-premises idea to the cloud idea, and having an on-premises idea of networking and how things work. I think it was easier for me to get the picture in how things are going to translate in the cloud, but yet I had to go through steps. So like I said, there are tons of training sections that are available for Extra Microsoft for free that we can leverage. And so I think I invested almost every weekend because I worked Monday through Friday, and the only time I had was evening, and evening times you have to dedicate that to the family as well. So I decided I was not going to take any time to study during the weekdays, because when I get over 5, I just need to be with the family. And so I invested heavily on my weekends, Saturday, Sunday, which is basically I would just come here down to my office from 8 to noon every Saturday, Sunday, right in the afternoon, because we go to church. Obviously, a lot of you do different things on Sunday morning, but just being intentional about the time that you put in on your calendar to follow through with the test practices. And so the time wise, I did almost 16 hours on weekends. I'll put in sorry, no, not 16, 8 hours, sorry, because it's Sunday and Saturday. So 4 hours each day to take the practice test over and over and over. And the good thing about the practice test is that it kind of tells you when you fail, and then it points out the areas that you need to pay more attention to. And you can see that all that on aka.ms/learning. And so you can go through that. So I did that. And like I said, I also invested a lot of time in other resources outside of what Microsoft was providing for us. I leverage a lot of guys on YouTube. I watched a lot of YouTube videos. And then I went to Udemy as well. But really, I think you can have all the resources in the world at your disposal. I think it comes down to being very intentional and investing the time to do that. There are so many people that have access to tons and tons of resources, but they never make the time to sit down and go through with it. So be intentional about that. Know what you're going for, that this is where I'm going and I need to get this by. Set a time for yourself that maybe by the end of June, I need to have this certification in my back pocket. And so you're going to put in the time. I'm not saying just overwhelm yourself with it. Just make time and make it consistent, because with this, and one more advice is, when I took my AZ 900 the first time, I failed. And then I took it right again, like in 2 days, because if you wait till 3 months, 4 months down the road, then the things that you learn, it's gonna get rusty. So you don't want it to get rustic. You don't want to go back and dust it off, you just want to stay in that mood. So you practice, but the advice or the recommendation is that you go in fully prepared, so you don't have to fail and go back to take it. I hope that makes sense.
Yes, that is perfect, and thank you very much. I would also want to add a bit on the LAN, what I've experienced so far, and I think it's very cool. The LAN has a sandbox which helps you do hands-on, lab for free, and it could even assign you like 1 hour, 1 hour 45 minutes that you can do your labs. That is hands-on, and it's really, making some of us who don't have the credits, agile credit, feel very comfortable learning. So guys, you have to really check the LAN. It's very comprehensive, and it's very clear. Yes, Joshua.
Okay. So I'm so comfort you raise up your hand so you can go. Mute yourself and then ask the question. Hi, comfort, are you there? Okay, so it says comfort is not responding. So if anyone has any questions, can you raise your hand so that you can unmute yourself and then ask the question. Okay, so it looks like
I have a question. The job market. So, creating how do we approach the job market in terms of or how do we approach? Because most of the time,
Hello, Joshua. Hello.
Yeah,
Hello. Yeah, I think there's an echo coming back, a feedback. I don't know if it's just from my end, but
I can barely hear anything he's saying.
Yeah. So kindly check your side, Joshua. I think it might be from your mic. There's a feedback or an echo coming back from your side.
Okay, hello.
Yes, I can hear you.
Ernest. Yeah, it's
Okay,
better.
it's clear now. Okay, all right. So I was asking that after us preparing ourselves, how do you have any experience as to how we approach the job market?
Yes, absolutely. So, like I said, that the scope is very wide. You obviously don't have to just look into the Ghana market or Africa. You can actually look beyond that. And I tell people all the time, if I'm here and anybody else can get here. I didn't grow up here in the U.S. I'm from Ghana, like every one of you here. I did most of my education in Ghana as well. I went to high school in Opokuwari, and then I left I spent most of my growing ages in London, where I went for my higher education, and then ended up here in the US. And so if I can get here to Microsoft, I think it's the same thing for every one of you here, with that dream, with that aspiration to also wanna be here, or all the other tech companies that you can think of. Think of AWS, think of Google, think of IBM, Oracle, and all these other ones that are out there. I think that the whole thing is that you really need to set that dream and that goal for yourself. Go for the certifications. Like I said, a lot of employers will look at the degree, but they are motivated more to give you a chance through the door if they know you have certification. Not too long ago, as Microsoft employees, we have the ability to send referrals. And so if you are familiar with Microsoft career website, when you go there, it's different from when I log in as an employee, because I see a lot more details on the job that is posted there. I see who the hiring manager is, I see what the job level is, and I'm also able to refer someone. So what it works is that, and I will be very honest with you on this one, there are hundreds and hundreds and thousands of people that apply for jobs at Microsoft every single day. And I know this because I was in a conversation with my manager. She was complaining how tired she was that day. And I'm like, oh, what do you have a lot of things going on today? And she's like, yeah, I'm in the process of hiring people. And I'm like, oh, is it that bad? And she went like, oh, you have no idea how many people are applying for jobs at Microsoft daily. And so it only makes sense for them when there is an internal referral that has been sent out. So how that process works is, if you see a job there, let's say, oh, a cloud solutions architect, and then you let me know the job number, and someone that you know within Microsoft can go in there and then log in as an employee. I can see what level that is. It's very, very important, because when I see that level, I may be able to give a little bit of advice or guidance to whoever is applying. Based on where their technical knowledge is, I might be able to tell them, maybe you want to hold on this one for a little while, because maybe this one is a level 60 or 64. It might be too much for you, or you might not even get it, because maybe based on where you are and your certifications. And so I will be able to see all of that. Now, if I see and I know that this is clearly for you, you're gonna be a good fit for this, what I need to do is just click on refer this person. I will go through and fill out everything and send it into the portal. What happens is that Microsoft is going to email you and tell you, for example, Joshua, you have been referred by Peter Sarpong, and he thinks that you are a very good fit for this role. Here is a link. Click this to apply. When you click on that, it takes you into your account that you have signed up on the portal, the Microsoft career site, and then you can apply for that. Now, once you apply, it sends me a notification when I go into my account at microsoftcareers.com and sign in. I can see and I can check the status of your application. I can see it's pending, it's been reviewed. I can see that a recruiter has reached out to you. If not, that's where when someone refers you, it's a great thing, because then I can pin or reach out to the hiring manager, because I can see that on my end, but you cannot see that on your front. And pin out, reach out to the hiring manager and say, hey, I referred a friend for this job. Do you mind if I send over the resume again? And most of the times they're all gonna say yes, yeah, absolutely, do that. And then you pursue that for the person. Now, once that's done, that's how people get into the loop. Hiring managers will tell you without referrals, it's almost like impossible to handpick people, because there are tons and tons of people applying. That's why they leave that to recruiters. But recruiters are also going in and they are looking at the ones that has been referred so they can pull those ones out. So 1 out of 100 is scenario type is when you see or hear that someone applied at Microsoft just randomly at the career site and they get a phone call from a recruiter. It happens, but I would say it's just 1 out of 100. Typically, it is through the referral portal, or unless maybe you were at a hiring event that you personally met with recruiters, which is not, I don't know if they do that quite a ton in Ghana, but here in the US, they do that a lot. They even have an event for diversity hiring where they are just focusing on people with color, people with different backgrounds, like Indians, Africans, African Americans, Asians, all these people. So they have that as well. There are tons of these events that go on throughout the year in different parts of the country. And so if you happen to be in one of those sections, you can speak to a recruiter directly. You can pass your information. That way you know that you can get your foot at least into the door by getting an interview. I hope that answers that.
Yes, I think it's been a good response to that question, and we are having more insight. Yes. So, anyone with a question? Someone was saying if you can share your LinkedIn profile so they can connect to you. Yes. So that's directed to you, Peter.
Yes. I think I see Bright Ernest.
Yes.
Basically just type in Peter Sarpong. I'm pretty sure there's only one Peter Sarpong on LinkedIn. Just kidding.
Yes, I think I myself, I just sent you a LinkedIn connection.
Yes, I just accepted that. So we are connected now.
Yes. So yes, team, we are still taking questions. Feel free to come out. I think we have someone from Liberia. His name is Lamin Kamara. Lamin, are you there? Hello, Lamin. Okay. So, I don't like mentioning names, but if you are there and you want to ask any question or talk about.
There is also a question here in the chat from Gideon.
Okay.
If you want me to speak to that.
Okay. All right. Please go ahead.
So Gideon is asking, so how do we apply for jobs with these big tech giants, as you mentioned, from Ghana? Some of us keep getting the sets and building the experience as well, but we don't have much of these tech companies in Ghana, which is true. Absolutely right there, Gideon, because I think the problem is that there's so much encouragement or the zeal or the desire to want to get these certifications, but then it comes down to, am I gonna get a job with this? Which is very important, because you don't want to waste money, you don't want to waste time, you don't want to get these certifications and not have a job market for it. Quite unfortunately, there's not quite a ton of these job openings in Ghana. That's why I kept mentioning, do not just look at Ghana or Africa. You can look elsewhere, like Microsoft, like AWS. Now, the great thing is that all these companies I'm mentioning are embracing talents from all over the world. As a matter of fact, there are so many different, which some of them I can send them later to Joshua so he can distribute. But there are hiring agencies here in the US that accept applications and help applicants into some of these tech companies. You don't have to be here in the US initially. There have been quite a number of Ghanaians at Microsoft that got their job from Ghana. They applied from there, and then they got their visas to come here. So yes, that is the path. You can look into that as well. Like I said, build yourself up and then know where you want to go, and then find the right connection, people that can connect you to those doors to make it possible for you. And when it comes to interviews and all sorts of things like that, I think that's a topic for another day, maybe, because it's quite different from how interviews are done back home. I can speak for Microsoft on my side. I had to go through 3 interviews for my first role. I had to go through 4 interviews for my second role here. They always do the behavioral situational side of the interview where they want to get to know you. It's more like psychological questions in situational type, and then the next one is technical side where they will bring in technical guys. Typically there are 2 guys that are going to be there that will ask you technical questions about the role that you're looking or applied for. So those are some of the things that you can start thinking around it. Like if you can connect with me on LinkedIn, I'm always open to kind of jump on a call to help you navigate through some of these decisions and give you some guidance as to the easiest path to go. Sometimes it makes sense that you go out there and look at what the job market, the demand out there is, and then you go get yourself ready for that, so you can make yourself easier or make it easier on yourself to go through the door. The problem I'm seeing lately is there are a whole lot of people going for what you call it, security certifications. I'm not saying that's not great, but what's the name of that? I've heard even here in the US, there are a lot of people in the East Coast that go through this. I call it microwaved kind of certification, half-baked kind of certifications, because people told them that, well, if you do this, you will get a job in 3 weeks, and then they take them tons of money and put them at the end of the day, they have that whatever certification, and then they've created a whole chunk of market, but there's not the job for it. So you really want to be strategic and know, where can I go? Don't just take any certification. Look for where the demand is very high and go upskill yourself and come apply, because it's easier to go through that. Once you get your foot in the door, you can navigate yourself through any other place that you want to go. You can build upon that. If you got in through a sales side of things, you can go through a cloud solutions architect within a year. You can become a DevOps engineer within a year from where you go. But be strategic. Know where the demand is and get the skill for it and go through that door.
This is wonderful. This is wonderful and insightful. Yes, good. Someone asked this question. I'm seeing Sylvester's hand raised. Sylvester, please take the platform.
Okay, that's a very good one, Peter. Just to add up something. In Ghana here, the technology adoption is very low. So there are new things that comes up, and it takes a very long time before those are being implemented here in Ghana. And because technology is so dynamic these days, we try to catch up. But here is the case: we always need to do a market study. It's not that, they introduced Microsoft Mesh and we need to start learning Microsoft Mesh to be able to implement. We need to be very sure about what we have down here in Ghana before we take in all those things. Sometimes you are certified, but you don't find a job because companies look for people with certification that are relevant to them. And these days, you can't really get markets, or you can't really get jobs from Microsoft if you are not certified and you don't have competencies in one of their core, let me say, field, before they give you a job, they have to make sure you have engineers that are able to take that. So we need to actually do a first background check and be sure that, okay, if I'm taking this certification path, if I'm choosing this career, I need to achieve this and that. And once you have the right certification, if you knock at the right door, I'm sure they will take you. So we need to do the first job. You have to do our homework first, make sure we have certifications that are relevant to companies here so that we can easily get our job before thinking of going up there and find something meaningful for ourselves. Thank you.
Absolutely. That's a great point.
That is a good point there. So yes, Abu, our community leader, we have not heard you today. So would you mind to share some insights? You have a ton of experiences. I mean, we would like to put you on the spot. I'm putting you on the spot actually. So Abu, if you are there, just share with us some experience also for some of us up and upcoming. We would also know how to strategize. Hello, Abu. Hello. Okay. Maybe Abu is not ready. I would try and put him on the spot. So yes, guys, if you have any questions, this is the time to, put it across so that we deliberate. This is very important because most of the times we all go for the technical, and we lose how to strategize. I mean, if you don't have certifications, and I'm talking in terms of Microsoft nowadays, from the speakers, you would really know that, you are halfway through because you need certifications to also show. And these days, exams are really technical. It's not something like you go in and then maybe you are familiar with certain concepts and you go away. You will bear with me because let me share this experience. When I was sitting for the AZ9, which was the fundamental, if Abu comes online, he will testify. I was like, oh, Abu, this is fundamental. So, some of us, not to blow our horn, but we've been through the industry. So when I saw this fundamental, I was like, oh, okay, maybe I should jump and go to 104, Agile Administrator. And Abu was like, you don't know what you are talking of. Even Satya wrote fundamental. So I said, okay, we were debating about it. I was saying it's optional as it's been stated on the LEN. So I was like, no, Abu, I need to write 104. So finally, I came to the realization that, okay, let me make a strong foundation with this Agile administrator before I go in for that particular exams because I don't want to fail. So I started with the LEN, and in fact, for me, I used only the LEN to prepare for my AZ 900. So I was focusing, committing more time to it. And then I also scheduled for an online exam. So I was myself in my office somewhere around 8 p.m. and the PC I was using was also giving me some issues. But at the end of the day, I was able to get the proctor come in. And then, lo and behold, after submitting, clicking the finish, I had exactly 700. And the pass mark is 700 and above. So I was like, woo! I nearly grew. I was like, wow. And what I realized during the exams was like, okay, all the concepts I really learned, I took the time to learn, really helped me. I think the reason why I got that 700 was that prior to sitting the exams, I mean, setting up, because my PC was messing up, I was like tensed because most of the questions I realized that, okay, I know this, I understand this, but I'm locked between two possible answers. So at the end of the day, to cut a long story short, I had exactly 700. That was when Abu came back. I called Abu and I informed him and he said, wow, you were joking with these exams. You've now realized what it really is. And it's not a joke, believe me. So, I mean, if you should commit more, in the worst case, you can fail. That doesn't mean you didn't commit much. But it's for me, I've really come to fall in love with the land because it gives me the fundamentals of the whole concept. And once you get that clear, if you should watch YouTube, if you should watch Plural's site, you really sail through easily. So that's a bit of experience I would like to share. Yes. Joshua?
Okay, thank you very much for the that you shared with us. If I just go around, okay, so I think that channel available. So you move on to the questions or the Q&A. So I have some questions that I would like to either go or people to answer them. So the first question is from a personal.
Joshua, Joshua, it seems your mic is still having the noise again.
Okay, let me see. Okay, please hold on. I'll be.
Yeah, hello. Can anyone hear me? So I can proceed.
Yeah, this is far better.
This is far better. Oh, okay, that's fine. So from the two speakers, from a personal experience, writing exams through your career and then all of that. So I want to find out when is really appropriate time to start writing professional exams, whether in Azure, whether in Dynamics, or even in Microsoft 365. So any of the speakers can go for that question.
Yes. So let me speak on the Azure side of things here, real quick. Like I mentioned, I think it really depends on your roadmap for yourself and where you want to go, when you want to get there. If you have these idea, at least that will give you a picture of how much time you want to invest to start with. And so when to do that, I think that's a question that each and every one of us needs to answer for ourselves. But I think that being strategic, it will be when you know that there is a high demand for that job or for that role, that you know that it's easier for me to get through the door if I have the certification right now. So maybe those might be some of the triggers that you want to be looking at, or you want to be looking out for. That is there a demand for it, so you don't waste time and money and resources on some areas or exam or certification that's not going to be really relevant to your path or your career goals and aspirations. So just know where and look for where the demands are. And I mean, that will be the time to simply go. Sometimes it just makes sense to be ready for it, just be prepared, have that until something shows up. It's just you looking out for yourself for the future and knowing that with how things are going from where we are now, it looks to me like cloud computing is here to stay. It looks to me like these jobs are even going to get bigger and bigger to come in the next coming years. And so, that there is a potential to grow down there. You can start from today, in my opinion.
Okay, thank you very much, Peter. Gill?
Yes.
Would you like to also take answer?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, you can hear you.
Yes. I would say very much the same thing as Peter, that nobody could say, you're 21, you should sit one of these exams, or you're 35, you should sit one of these exams. It's very much based on where you want to go, where you are now, and whether that exam is a strategic step from where you are to where you want to get. There's nothing more specific than that.
Oh, okay. All right, yeah, thank you very much. Okay, thank you very much. So on to the next question. So ideally, when you are preparing for exams, do you really have to use Microsoft Learn as well to prepare for the exams? We know currently that Microsoft Learn keeps updating stuff, and sometimes it might not catch up with the content that has been provided for the exams. So I want to ask you ideally to also be using Microsoft Learn alongside when you're preparing for the exams.
I would definitely say that Microsoft Learn is one resource. And as we said earlier, the foundation or the blueprint for what you need to do is the skills measured. There is a skills measured document for all of those exams, and that is what you need to know. What you use to help you get from wherever you are now to being across all of that skills measured, it really doesn't matter. But in the speed that things are moving, it is much more likely now and more likely than it was 10, 15 years ago when I was taking these first exams. It is much more likely to be online resources than hard copy resources. Books these days are out of date before they're published.
Okay, interesting. Okay, and Peter,
Yes, I also want to add that I think Microsoft Learning is probably the best place to look at most of the times, because these certifications are built by Microsoft. So if there are going to be any updates, I don't think you would want to look elsewhere than Microsoft Learning, because it will be updated right there, because it's an in-house thing. And so if it's for other certification, I can't say the same, but for Microsoft certifications, you definitely want to be looking at aka.ms/learning, because all the recent updates, every update that is going on is automatically going to be updated there as well. There are other places that you can also be looking at, but I wouldn't even say that they are always like live updates. Some of them would take maybe days or even sometimes a week or even more for them to put the recent updates there. But with Microsoft, because it's an in-house thing, because they are building it, the updates just goes there automatically.
I did find when I did MB 600 at the end of last year that the Learn course only covered about a third of the skills measured document, maybe not even as much as a third. So I definitely had to go elsewhere to get the resources. So it's not that anything that was on Learn was wrong, but it was very incomplete compared to the skills measured.
Okay, thank you. So we go to the next question. So what are the pros and cons for taking any Microsoft exams, which is Azure and or Dynamics? Are there any pros and cons when you're taking any of these exams? Okay, so Peter, you can go first.
Well, I would say that clearly there are some things that you need to watch out for, and some things that you need to be doing, and things that you need to avoid. For example, I mentioned being intentional about the time investment that you put into your learning, not to underestimate any kind of certification. Also, I would add that since you are in it and getting ready, I think you also need to think about the fact that you are going in one time and going in to pass it and not having to spend money again, which makes a lot of sense to invest more time right the first time so you get it and you don't have to repeat that cycle again. Maybe some things that would be some things that you just want to avoid, not to repeat that, to pay extra money. But some other things I would say would be just focusing. I think first of all, identifying the right certification that works for you, focusing on the time and taking the exam. I know for some people it's harder in different places to take that. Oh, you have to be at an exam center to get that, or you just have to be in your home, depending on how the conditions are regarding different parts of the world. But you also want to make sure on the day of the exam you have everything that is required and not to get canceled, because I know here there was a friend that was taking the exam. He was by himself in his basement, and his wife just walked in there and the proctor saw that and was like, that's it, they cancel that. So these are some of the things that you also want to watch out for and to avoid.
Certainly, if you're taking exams at home, there's a lot of requirements that you are made responsible for. And as Peter's just said, one of them is nobody, and that means absolutely nobody, must come into the room during the exam. But there's a lot of other requirements as well. So make sure you are familiar with those and you obey them.
Okay, that sounds interesting. Okay, so well, what are the skills that I need to get before maybe I can start my career in the, let's say, dynamic space or in the Azure space? Is there any essential skills that I need to have before I can write any of these exams, or even start with my career in Azure or the cloud, those kind of stuff? Okay, so Peter, you can go.
Yeah. So I think I mentioned this too earlier, that there's a lot of people that I know at work who are still without any certification. The goal is to get that. Now, there are different ways that people get into jobs. There are some roles that would not require immediate certifications, but obviously there are some that you cannot even get through to a recruiter's call without having those on your resume. And so I think it really depends on what that job role is and where you're gonna be going to determine or to decide what kind of knowledge that you need. I would say that like I said, when I got into Microsoft initially, I didn't even know anything about Azure. I did not. I had to take time right away to bring myself up to speed with the resources that was made available for me. And so that's one scenario. But as things get more challenging in the next years to come, I know that is gonna be like, hey, the requirement here if you want this role or that role. And employers would want to know that at least you have some kind of knowledge, at least the basis of cloud computing, if that's where you're looking to go. They would want to know that. So it makes sense to at least be abreast with just the basis of things.
Yeah, Gill, would you like to answer?
I think aside from the absolute syllabus, at least in the dynamic space or in the functional space, what is important is problem solving and communication skills. So for all of the world that I live in, those two skills across the board are essential. And they are covered in a sort of vague way within the exams, but there is no list of if you can do ABC, you'll be fine. But as well as the hard exam facts, if you like, those two are also essential.
Okay, wonderful. So then the last question, then we can call it a wrap. Okay, so the question I would like to ask once again is, how will all these exams that I'm writing, I need to study, write this particular exam, whether it's Azure, AZNA 100, or administrator, or data, any of them. How is this going to help boost my career and my personal growth? Okay, Peter.
Okay. Well, I think that what recruiters are looking for when they go in immediately, and I'm saying this from an experience. I was helping a friend out because a recruiter randomly reached out to me on LinkedIn and said, hey, do you know or do you have any friends that are in the IT space that can work as support engineers? And I'm like, oh, actually I've got a ton of them. And the follow-up question was, can they do this, A or Z or that? So she made some things, she outlined some things clearly, and I was like, yeah, I believe so. And the next one was, do they have any Azure certification? So you see, you can talk about it, you can during interviews. They know that that's their job. They know that people go through interviews, and some people are great communicators. They can absorb all of that information on YouTube in 24 hours and come ace the interview, but actually they won't be able to do the job. But when they know that a person has this on their resume, it's clearly highlighted there, they've been through it, they know that, yes, this is the deal. And so reading from a recruiter's mind or perspective, I know that is something that's of importance, that you have that. clearly highlight on your resume, let your employer or the recruiter know that this is what I've got. These are the things that I'm trained in. These are the things that I can do, and so they can at least give you a chance or know what your expertise are immediately when they go in to pick people. So I think that is very important. The certifications, there's no way to write them off to say. Like I said, it doesn't mean that if you only have a college degree, you won't get through the door. That's not the case too. So it really depends on the job role and what they are looking for, which in most cases they will clearly outline that in the job role, the requirements and the responsibilities. They will outline the requirements. So if you go in there and you look at them and you know that, okay, well, I think I'm qualified for this, then you can go ahead to apply. And when recruiters pull you out and they know that you have this on your resume, then the chances are high for you to get through.
Wow, wow. That's impressive. And Gill, so you can go.
Sorry, were you talking specifically to me?
Yes, with the same question that I asked.
Okay. I come at things generally from a different perspective because I have not been employed as such now for nearly 30 years. I've been running my own boutique consultancy and therefore finding my own clients and my own work and so on. So I have not been in that space, but nevertheless, I have done a number of exams and I've boosted skill sets. On a purely personal level, if I was employing somebody, I would be looking more for how they dealt with me in interview rather than specifically exams per se, although I may well be interviewing from a similar perspective to exams. But I value things beyond just the exams themselves.
Okay, that's impressive. Okay. So if there are no other questions, I'm done with the Q&A. So I'm handing over to Ernest so he closes.
Okay. First of all, before I even give the closing remarks, I would like to hear a word or two from our community leader, Abu. If you are back, if you are there, we can hear a word or two from you.
Hi everyone. Yes, I've been following up. Actually today I'm enjoying the session, so that's why I'm quiet here. And yes, and very, very insightful. And I'm happy all the things people have been asking me every time. Now the answers are here. So I'm sure that will help them. And we have the recording session too. We'll be sharing on our YouTube and other social media platforms. And a special thank you to Gill and Peter. And I've been seeing what I saw their LinkedIn profile, and I know they are the right people to answer these questions. So I'm so happy they are part of our big family, and we can always come back to them for some clarification. Peter, hello, Peter.
Yeah, I'm here.
Yes, so you already know what in Ghana what we are expecting from you to do, because a lot of people want to work at Microsoft. They want to be Microsoft certified. They want to, and then we are happy you are here to help out, and anytime you want to share something with us, you want to us to organize something like this, you can always come in, and so that we have audience, and always those kind of questions. Even when we have a technical session, people be asking, how do I get to work at Microsoft? How do I pass Microsoft certification? And we have you here. You'll be giving us some information. We really, really appreciate those information. Thank you so much, and thank you to everyone who joined the session this Saturday. We'll be continuing doing this session almost every month, and we have a global boot camp. A lot of them come in, and the Azure Global Boot Camp coming next week, where we'll have a lot of people to come in to share their experiences with us. And thank you so much, everyone. And Joshua and Ernest and Sylvester, those are the members of the organization. Like they are the organizers. So Microsoft User Group Ghana, and Ernest, you have to let us know your position, and Sylvester and Joshua.
Okay. So yes, at this time, I would like to, for us, if everybody is there, please let's give a round of applause for our insightful leaders in the name of Peter and Gill. They've really give us information worth, more than money, because sometimes, as Boo rightly said, even when you are doing technical presentation, they will be asking you, how do I get certified? How do I position myself for the market? So at this time, right now, I want us to give some round of applause for them for really spending their time. Today is weekend, and if you don't have passion to help the young ones, and if you don't have that volunteer spirit, you don't do some of these things. So we deeply appreciate them from a community perspective and as well as individual. I really appreciate your time, and really look forward to more of this in the future. Yes, so I would like to briefly introduce each of the community members, Microsoft User Group Ghana. Abu is our community leader. Abu Konde is our community leader, and he's in charge of, he supervises all of us. Myself, Ernest Kenatha, I'm in charge of membership, and also I handle kind of treasurer activities. So we also have Chesco. Chesco is the guy in charge of our artwork, and we also have.
Okay, so let me come in. So if you have been seeing our beautiful designs out there, it was all made by Chesco.
Yes.
Yeah, we are always on his neck, evening, morning, at dawn, and he's doing a great job. He's doing a great job for us.
Doing a great job.
And we would like to say thank you, Chesco, for all the amazing stuff you have been doing for us.
And this is coming for free and at will to help the community. So we really appreciate that. We also have Joshua, who is among the champion team. We have a team here we call champion team. They do their content blogging. They also sometimes engage our speakers, as in this case, they engaged Peter and Walker. So yes, Joshua too is a top-notch guy who always delivers. So we would say, yeah, Joshua, big ups, Joshua. We also have our event lead organizer in the name of Sylvester Akapo. Sylvester is also the lead, in terms of organizing events, creating the event, making sure that teams and staff is always on point. And we really appreciate his efforts from day one. He's been so willing to help this community go to the next level. Yes, we have Audrey. Audrey couldn't join us today, but he is also part of the champion team. When you see us flying on the social media, Twitter, LinkedIn, Facebook, the lady behind us is Audrey, and she's been doing amazing job, and we say thumbs up to Audrey. Now to our wonderful members. They've always been with us. They've always supported us. If you are new here, I would entreat you to reach me or Joshua. Then we will be posting the links into the chat to join the community as well. It's just Microsoft User Group Ghana. Once you Google that, you will get the various links to our meetup community and the teams as well. So yes, our wonderful members. If you don't, if you are not there, we don't exist. So we would say thumbs up and watch out for our upcoming event, which is next week, Saturday, Agile Global Bootcamp, and it will be dope. This was a kind of a program to help raise more awareness about the Microsoft solutions and technologies. So if you've really enjoyed this, then don't miss the upcoming event, which is on the 17th of April, coming Saturday. So please don't miss that. It's going to be very technical and you will love it, trust my word. So yes, at this point, if Abu, community leader, if you don't have anything to add up.
No, I don't have any other thing to do, just to thank everybody for coming.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
So we would call this a day. And again, I would like to thank our wonderful speakers. And I would like to give them the last opportunity if they want to say something. Maybe I'll start with Peter. Hello,
Yeah,
Peter.
I just want to say thank you to the organizers. Thank to everyone that made it here today. It's been a fun session here with you all. Thank you, Gill, as well, for the time. I know it's pretty late where you are in Australia, but you stayed up for this, so that's really good. Thank you for that. I also want to say that I'm always open. I'm always here if you want to reach out, if you have any questions regarding some of the things that we talked about, or even later along the lines of other stuff, you can always reach out to me.
Thank you very much. Gill?
Much the same from me. More than happy if any of you do want to reach out and talk to me about Dynamics. I've been talking to Joshua off and on for probably about 18 months now, I think, isn't it, Joshua? But very, very happy to help you. Although in my case, it is specifically in the dynamic space. I made the decision several years ago to do the inch wide, mile deep within my expertise. And that's what I have done. So I've stayed very much within the dynamics and specifically really within the education aspect of dynamics. But it's been fun to be here, and maybe you'll see me again at some point if you don't reach me.
We hope to see you. We hope to see you.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone, and have a wonderful weekend, everyone. And thank you for being part of this program. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you all. Bye.
I'm getting breakfast and I shall head off to bed, I think.
Bye. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.